how do you deepen your relationship with a friend? You start looking out for the friend. You start
doing things for the friend.
Doing things for the friend,
which are also like rituals. You're checking in on the friend every now and then to see how they're doing.
Yes.
And so like the same thing with the deity. It's like a friend that you're checking in with.
Yes.
You're making their favorite food every now and then, maybe.
And read the biographies of a lot of these sadhakas. When you read the biographies, you'll see what they did. If you read Ramakrishna's story, you will see how he keeps talking to Kali, how he keeps talking to Krishna also. There's a story of a small Krishna that he got. Little murti of Krishna that was given to him. Okay. And he used to talk to that Krishna all the time.
Yeah.
And he would scold that Krishna also. Don't be naughty. He's treating it like a baby Krishna and he's scolding it. So when you do that, and then of course we all know what all powers Ramakrishna had. Like the kind of siddhis he had, right? And then he was able to guide so many people, inspire so many people, right? And he would laugh at some of the stupid practices that were being done. That was there. Yeah, but rituals, a lot of people dismiss rituals as something not conducive to higher understanding. Okay, but actually rituals lead you to that higher understanding. So you start with those rituals. A lot of them are actually gratitude based rituals. So where when you do rituals for the Surya, the sun, you are expressing gratitude for the sun, for giving you the energy, the power. Then when you do rituals before eating, you chant that prayer, Brahmarpanam, right? So then you are now thinking of the food that you're eating as a yagya inside your body. You're putting that food into the yagya that is inside your body, the fire. So then so all these rituals are actually helping you to become more meditative if done in the right way. I mean, you don't in a hurry, put flower, light a lamp and just quickly get out of that place. Then it will not deepen your practice. But let's say you have got up early and you have kept a good 30 minutes for those rituals. Then as you do the rituals, you feel very peaceful, very calm, very in harmony with everything around you. And then you will find the effect of these rituals. Right?
There was I think it was a Beer Biceps episode that I watched recently. He invites all these different sadhakas, and one of the ladies distinguished between religion and spirituality, and she said that religion is all these rituals and all of these different things you need to do that's prescribed that you should do, and that is to develop faith. Religion is necessary for you to develop faith, and spirituality is to take the faith and convert it into moving your consciousness to a higher level. So both go hand in hand, but it's like you graduate from one to the other. Do you agree with that? Or was her
that may be her way of explaining. But yes, I do agree that rituals and all these outwardly expressions of devotion, which might look like they are meaningless to some people who don't know what they mean, but actually they all lead to higher faith. Right? Provided you're not stuck in them. There are, if you become superstitious about rituals, that is, I think that's what leads people to think it's meaningless. Like today, I wasn't able to pray before I left for an important meeting. So now that meeting is going to go bad. I didn't pray. So if you get into that kind of thinking, then rituals are bad for you. Don't do them.
Yeah, I think ritualism that comes out of fear. I don't like excessive ritualism. I cannot do this on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I cannot cut my nails on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I still don't understand.
You have to respect what they are doing. Like if they say that I don't do this on this day, I know it can be annoying, but if that's what
I'm fine with food restrictions on certain days. Like, okay, when people say I fast every Fridays, or I understand that this is necessary in that path, that it's part of the sadhana, that you're holding yourself accountable and you're doing that.
Right.
It's not coming out of fearing God or something like that.
That fear is not a great idea. So suppose you're not able to do puja someday, then it should not become it should not be a fear psychosis. It should not be, you should not think that now bad is going to happen to me. That's not the way. I don't like this approach to divine. Yeah. So you do what you can do because your intent is what matters. So try your best to do it. And of course it's ideal if you're able to do it every day, but you never know, these things come up. And of course there are elements that are trying to put you off from your sadhana also. That also is true. And so you should try to be on track. But sometimes if it happens, just observe it, move on. That's what I think. But rituals, I think, should not be thrown away like that and regarded as useless. It's not like that. And
There's
you
a
can
healthy balance. I
there
think.
has to be a healthy balance. So there are those nightly rituals you do, evening rituals that you do. So do them, because we actually do rituals without even knowing. Like, even if take out the other, everything is a ritual, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you brush your teeth,
It's a
you do
ritual.
things, all those things before sleeping. Those are rituals too.
Yeah.
But you think those are necessary rituals, so it's okay.
Okay. The reason why we don't make fun of those things, because it's like, you brush your teeth, the outcome is you have clean teeth, which is necessary so that you live a better life, right? It's just that there's a cause and effect that is explained by science.
Yes.
Whereas how many people have studied, like 100 people have done this ritual and it has led to this outcome. Like, that's not something that's actually studied.
Yeah.
And so you're doing these rituals and you have taken a leap of faith thinking that this is going to get you to a point, but you don't know. There's so much uncertainty with that.
True.
There's uncertainty with the rituals that you're doing for God. And so that's why people make fun of it.
But if you talk
'Cause
to
you're
people who are doing certain rituals, how are they feeling after doing them? You'll find that they are saying that, okay, when I do this in the evening, the Sandhya Vandana, for example,
Yeah.
that's a clear thing. Those who do perform the Sandhya Vandana in the morning and evening, they all are saying that it helps them in many different ways. Like,
But is it like sort of like a placebo effect? Like, you're doing it.
now think of the placebo effect itself. That shows that your mind has done something there, right? So that your mind, even placebo effect, people are saying study the placebo effect. Why is the
Yeah.
placebo effect there? It's because your mind is so powerful.
So are you doing these, like, I know that we were taught the Nitya Puja, which is like a bunch of rituals that you do every morning. Is that necessary is the focus of that centering ourselves and us coming into a place where, how do I explain this? Like, is it for us or are we doing it for the God, for deities?
It's both. It's both. So when you do it, it does center you.
Yeah.
And then you are also remembering your ancestors. You're
Yes.
remembering your ancestors. You're remembering the gods. It's a gratitude ritual as well. So you are expressing your gratitude for all those people before you, who, because of whom you are there today.
So we're doing it for ourselves.
We are
really.
doing it for ourselves also, and we're doing it for the deities also. I mean, the deities also are very pleased by it. At least that's the way I look at it.
Okay.
I do see it as the deities being pleased when you do these things. Now, it may not sound scientific,
Yeah.
but again, these are things beyond what we call science today. Right?
I mean, yeah, look, science is not going to be a best way to explain some of these things, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's experience. The way when I talk to skeptics, I say that, have you done this? Like,
Yeah.
if they're making fun of a ritual, they don't have the right to make fun of it
Yeah.
until they have done it.
Yeah.
They've followed the entire sadhana for as many years as they need to, and then they can come back to me and
Right.
say, oh, it didn't work. So that's actually the scientific method.
That's a
It's
scientific
like,
method, yes.
do it and then like actually test the hypothesis.
Yeah, that's actually, you're right. That is
Yeah.
the science we are talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Not
it's do the experience instead of asking me for a study. Like, do the sadhana.
And that's how how do you think meditation has become so popular? Now, meditation was never existing in a silo, in a vacuum. It
Yeah.
came out of these religious practices,
Yeah.
and people have just extracted that meditation out of it, right? And then they do it in whatever way they want. But it has come from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all these sadhanas, everything, all this is the same as all the meditative practices as well, except they have removed the references to God maybe in those things.
Yes. Yes.
And in spite of that, they are getting some benefit. Whereas here, when we do the rituals, we get the benefit of sound as well. You know, there is the powerful vibrations that come when you chant something. So there is a lot of mystery. It has not been fully explained what effect sound has on you. Right? Those
Yeah.
vibrations, what they have on you when you chant them, what it does to your body. So whatever time you do it in the morning or in the evening, and then I don't even know if we have the tools to study what it does to you. So it's sometimes that's why we say it's beyond science.
Yeah, because these things have not been studied by science, and that's why it's been removed. Like the concept of prana or sankalpa and all these things that are
Yeah.
involved in the process of ritualism.
Right.
When you actually have to use it in a setting where you're testing it out to see if it works, those things have to be removed for scientific study. At least in the West, that's what they would
Yeah.
do.
So because it has evolved differently in the West.
Yeah.
Because when our science was taken away from us, we were invaded.
Yeah.
India was invaded, and so we didn't continue in the path of research, doing research our way. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
If we were doing it our way, we would have included all these things too.
Yeah, now they
Right.
have to, like, when they do yoga, when they study yoga nidra,
Right.
they take out the concept of a sankalpa,
Right.
and then they say, okay, it's not yoga nidra anymore. Now we're going to call it whatever we want to call it,
Right.
and it's different from what you guys do. But
Right.
it's those kind of cultural appropriation
Right.
things that they're happening.